Hey everyone, happy Superman Day. You know, many years ago, a small little company decided to publish this comic on June 1938, and it was known as Action Comics. Now, the reason why this day is Superman Day is because apparently this was the day that Superman was released in Action Comics #1. It's pretty impressive to see how a character has managed to stay that mainstream for that much years. And DC was kind enough to reprint in its full size. And well, a week ago or so, they also released this Superman Action Comics, and this is issue 1085. Pretty impressive for a Superman comic. And so today, I'm going to be showing and reviewing these comics, seeing how different they are from each other, comparing almost a 90-year difference. So Action Comics #1 is pretty big. It's, not that bad. It has a ton of pages here. I think it's 64 pages. And when you open off the comic, it starts off with the Superman story. It's a pretty simple, basic origin story, saying how he was from another planet, came here, was super strong, and decided to become a superhero. He then did some Superman stuff, broke into the mayor's house, told him, hey, you got the wrong guy. The guy you're about to kill is not supposed to be killed. Something that I didn't really understand about this first issue is how he's able to keep his secret identity. I mean, it's pretty clear that Clark Kent is Superman, because the stuff that Superman gets does not look like something that Clark Kent would get. Because they mention that Superman's there, but they don't mention Clark Kent is there, but Clark Kent still gets the story. It's very confusing. Oh, and look, we get that cool shot over there where he carries the green car like in the cover. It's a pretty interesting story. You guys should read it. It's a pretty classic, basic Superman story. Surprisingly enough, the Superman story only takes up maybe the first 25 or so pages of the story, and we still got a lot more story to go through. Now, Chuck Dawson, that's this story. It was a pretty cool story, pretty interesting, for a Western. I really wish that DC did more stuff with this guy. They should definitely make a Chuck Dawson comic run. Zatara, Master Magician, honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was a pretty simple, basic story. So basically, he just does some magic stuff. Honestly, the story was kind of kiddish. I really feel that the Zatara story is more focused on a younger audience than the Superman story. After that, there's some words over here which I honestly did not take the time to read because I'm busy reading a bunch of comics and I'm not here to read a dictionary. Then soon we get this other short skip, which is kind of the opposite of what we saw, because it's just a bunch of illustrations of this silly little guy. It's not too bad, pretty silly. Then we get the Adventures of Marco Polo, what's honestly pretty mid story, to be honest. Honestly, I could care less for this story. And then we got this other story, Pep Morgan. Honestly, it was a bit of a better story than the previous two stories. It's not that bad of a story. I think you guys should read it. Now, even though this is a Superman related comic, I think that the best story in this issue is this one, Scoop Scallion. If James Gunn ever decides to make a series based on this guy, I would definitely watch it. But no, because the art here, it's so good. I actually really like this kind of noir detective artwork. And the story itself is actually pretty interesting, for a 1938 story. I feel like that this story was actually the best story in this entire comic. Then soon we finish off with Tex Thompson, who's supposed to be a cowboy who travels around and he's just going around the world and stuff. Not that bad of a story. It was a little bit goofy, but it's not as bad as the other ones. So honestly, I like the feeling of the book. They reprinted it, by the way, with this older paper. This paper really puts the modern comics to shame, because I really like this kind of vintage newspaper paper. Although most of the stories here were pretty mid, I could care less for half of the stories in here. And the Superman story wasn't exactly really the best. There's definitely a bunch of more better Superman stories out there. The vintage style really gives us a boost, but if I had to really rate this comic based on everything, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. And now here we have Superman Action Comics from 2025. Now this comic, it's much smaller and there's much less pages in here than the other one, but I really like the cover artwork for here. It looks really nice. Not as iconic as the Action Comics #1, but it's still pretty good. So it shows an old story of Clark Kent where he's sent to the Arctic. He goes over and he has to deal with these guys that are working on this little project that's supposed to reverse global warming. And things are going well, but then soon they feel like someone is trying to sabotage their work. They then get attacked by these robot polar bears, and well, Superman saves them, and he's in this really cool white suit. He looks very majestic here, as you can see. But then soon after taking down the robot, he found out that the source of all this trouble is from this guy, who I assume his name is Kilgore. And then soon the comic ends there, and all we have is like some ads for Titans number 22, Wonder Woman number 20, and we also got this little advertisement of Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League, movie that I assume is on HBO Max or something. Doesn't look too bad. I might watch it. So there was just one story in this thing, and it was much shorter, but I gotta tell you, it wasn't that bad. Sure, it was still a simple Superman story, but I kind of liked how they mentioned the global warming thing. I'm not sure why so much people are upset about it. I saw that some people were upset that they mentioned global warming because they say, oh, comics are getting too political. I kind of think that those guys forgot that Superman basically used to fight the Ku Klux Klan back in the 40s and 50s. So I don't know what they were talking about, because comics always were talking about like social problems occurring in our everyday lives. So my final review on these two comics, I gotta tell you, this one did a little bit better. I rate this comic 8 out of 10. Wasn't the best Superman story, but hey, the artwork was obviously much more nicer. I mean, of course, it's a more modern story. This one felt a little basic and kind of didn't really put Superman all to his potential. I mean, the original Superman didn't even have that much powers. All he could do was run faster than a train, jump higher than a building, and see through walls, be very strong. I honestly like this one more because of the more focused story and for the better artwork. I'd say definitely buy this for the vintage look, but definitely buy this for the story. And yeah, that's Action Comics from 1938 and 2025. Stay tuned for more comic reviews.